All right, here we go. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Adam Failed. First, I want to go ahead and point out that holy moly, you all really seem to like that last video with all of the photos and videos from the Appalachian Trail. I'm glad you all dug it, that's super cool. And honestly, feedback heard loud and clear. I'm certainly going to try to incorporate more photos and videos from my adventures into these clips. I won't have any today. I've just got some musings today. But in the future, I will look to do that a little bit more. So thank you for joining. If you're just now jumping on, be sure to go back to like episode 1 and figure out why it is that I'm talking about all these things. So real quick, I wanted to break down 3 things that I not exactly learned, but certainly noticed on the Appalachian Trail. So as I mentioned at the end of the last video, we covered about 80 miles of trail. And although we intended to do that in 7 days and 6 nights, we actually did it in 6 days and 5 nights, which was great. We traveled a little bit faster than we thought. And honestly, that kind of brings me to my first point that you can probably do more than you think you can do. And I think that's a lesson worth bearing in mind. We definitely wanted to take it easy this first time and not overstress ourselves and just kind of get a feel for the trail. But I think remembering that you can probably do a little more than you think you can do is worth bearing in mind for the trail, for my preparation for the Spartan, and honestly just in life in general. I also wanted to talk a little bit, as point number 2, about something called trail magic. For those of you who have ever spent any time on the Appalachian Trail, you've probably heard the phrase trail magic. Or if you've read Bill Bryson's A Walk in the Woods, he talks a little bit about trail magic. And I think it's just a phrase meant to indicate that when you need something on the trail has a way of providing it. And the way that showed up for me really was just in there being so many great people out there, meeting all kinds of interesting characters, the vast majority of whom were willing to really step up and help out when it even just looked a little bit like you needed some help. So the first time we experienced trail magic was, honestly, our shuttle ride. So we parked at our end point and got a shuttle back to our beginning point. And the guy running the shuttle was a really cool dude named Bandit. Shout out to you if you're out there, Bandit. And he was willing to kind of share stories of his times on the trail and tell us things that we should look out for and things that we might enjoy. And as we were unloading from the car, it was just a small gesture, but offering us a banana and a can of Sprite just to get a little bit in us. It was really early in the morning and we had breakfast, but sometimes that little bit extra, just the sugars and the potassium in one banana and one can of Sprite. And honestly, the kindness in the gesture was probably more important than the nutrition in the food and drink itself. But experiencing just that drop of trail magic at the very beginning was really cool. And then it kept rearing its head throughout the rest of the week. Joe got some blisters pretty early on and we ran into a guy named No Heart. Trail name, No Heart. But it turned out he had a great heart because he was willing to help out and he had some magic leukotape that solved Joe's problems or at least alleviated them significantly. I remember Joe specifically telling me that leukotape was magic. So Ranger Joe certainly appreciated No Heart's trail magic in the form of blister remediation. And throughout the rest of the time, people were just willing to say like, hey man, I'm getting off the trail and I've got an extra 1-liter bottle of water that I filtered, or a guy that we had spent some time with in one shelter, I ran into again as we were crossing a state road, and he just said, hey man, I'm parked here and I've got a cherry Coke in my truck, you want one? And just getting a cherry Coke out of the blue, unexpectedly. So, I think when life starts to get us down, life certainly gets me down sometimes. But I think remembering that the concept of trail magic is not something that only exists on the Appalachian Trail. There's people out there every day that are willing to go a little above and beyond to make sure you're doing okay. And both to remember that you can be the recipient of that and that you can be the giver of that, to me is a really powerful thing. So that's certainly something I want to bring back with me off the trail and make sure that I'm incorporating into my daily life. And then the third and final thing I want to talk about today is recognizing the sheer bliss of getting away from decision fatigue. And I think that was maybe the biggest, best thing that happened to me on the trail. So every day in normal life, I don't know about you, but I feel absolutely assaulted with just tiny decisions all the time. What to cook, what to eat, where to go when. People have questions, especially if you have kids. They're full of questions, which is delightful, but you have to make a lot of small choices about what to tell them and when to tell them. And then they ask, what are we having for dinner? When are we leaving for this? And again, these questions are fine, but they all pile up into just a bunch of little decisions that you have to make as an adult in 21st century America. And that's not even counting for all the stuff you have to do at work and all the emails that might pile up and having to make political decisions and friend decisions and family decisions, and everything is just decisions. But when you get out on the trail, so many of those decisions just fall away. Turn your phone into airplane mode, and really, the way we did it, we would wake up when we felt like it in the morning, make a little bit of breakfast, pack our camp up, and then you just travel vaguely northward on the trail. And as long as you're still seeing those little white strips, the white blazes, somewhere on a tree or a rock or something, you know you're on the right trail. So figuring out where to stop and have a Cliff Bar, or how long you think you can make it before you need to refilter some water, it's about all the decisions you make. And it's amazing how quiet your mind can get when the vast array of decisions you have to make just fade into the background. Anyway, that was the coolest thing that I took from the trail. And again, I think that's something that I can keep with me a little bit. It's tough splashing back into the world of decisions and trying to remember that that piece is still waiting there, that you can just not make decisions for a little bit. But I also can't wait to get back out on the trail and have that lack of decision fatigue sort of enforced by poor cell service and a singular aim of traveling along the trail. So yeah, maybe kind of throttle back the decisions that need to be made, because I think we make a lot of decisions every day that maybe don't really need to be made. And it's not until you don't make them for a little while that you realize what they cost you mentally. Anyway, that's what I've got for now. So hopefully one of those three things kind of resonates with you and helps you live a better life. I'm certainly trying to make them help me live a better life. And now that I'm back from the trail, it's time to get back into running, back into working out. I've been at the gym a couple times. I got a couple runs in. But we've got some races coming up kind of soon. I'll tell you about them later. Take care, and I'll see you on the other side. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more content.